flight cabin froze as a tall man dropped into the window seat that wasn't his. Beside him stood Ava Sinclair, a young black billionaire whose calm eyes hid years of storms. Passengers watched, unsure whether to speak. Seconds later, the captain's voice shook through the air, announcing the plane would not take off until this was made right. Ava Sinclair stood in the aisle, her boarding pass trembling between steady fingers. Row 14, Seat A. The window seat she had chosen to quiet her nerves before an important meeting. But a stranger sat there, leaning back as though the world belonged to him. His smile was casual, almost daring. "Excuse me," she said softly, though her voice carried a weight that made nearby passengers turn. "That's my seat." The man barely looked up. "Does it matter?" "It's just a chair." A ripple of unease moved through the cabin. No one spoke. The hum of engines waiting on the tarmac made the silence heavier. Ava did not raise her voice. Her gaze stayed level, calm, almost too calm, the kind that unsettles those who expect anger. She was 29, but her presence felt older, carved from years of fighting to stand where she stood now. Ava had built a global company from a single laptop in a studio apartment. She knew about doors closed quietly in other people's favor, about offers that disappeared when she walked into the room. Still, she learned to outthink, outwork, and outlast. The memory of her father's workshop brushed against her thoughts. The scent of cedar, the warmth of his hands as he said, "Never let someone else decide where you belong." That lesson had carried her through college nights when she had eaten instant noodles to afford tuition, through boardrooms where her ideas were questioned until repeated by someone else. Now, at 30,000 feet about to happen, she faced a smaller battle, yet it stung. A flight attendant approached, hesitant. "Ma'am, perhaps you can take another seat?" "We're almost ready to taxi." Ava's eyes softened, but she didn't move. "I chose this seat. I paid for it. I'd like to sit where I belong." Her words were quiet, clear, and unbending. The man shifted, irritation flickering across his face. He muttered something about people making a fuss and adjusted his headphones. Around them, passengers avoided meeting Ava's eyes. Silence, heavy as lead, filled the rows. But one passenger, an older woman with silver hair, watched Ava carefully. She touched the flight attendant's arm and whispered, too low for most to hear. The attendant's posture changed. She walked briskly to the front of the plane. Moments later, the intercom crackled. "Ladies and gentlemen," the captain's voice said, firm but measured, "we're holding this flight at the gate until a seating issue is resolved. Everyone deserves respect on board." A quiet gasp spread through the cabin. The man looked up, startled. Ava remained still, her expression unreadable. The captain himself emerged from the cockpit, tall and composed. He scanned the cabin, then addressed the man in seat A. "Sir, you're in the wrong seat. Please move so we can depart." Something in the captain's tone, steady, final, left no room for debate. The man rose reluctantly, sliding out of the row. Passengers' eyes followed as Ava, graceful as water, stepped past him and sat down. The cabin seemed to exhale. A few travelers offered faint smiles. The older woman gave a nod that felt like applause. Ava looked out the window, sunlight breaking through thin clouds. She said nothing, but inside she carried a line she would later share with her team. "Dignity isn't loud. It stands until the room remembers its own fairness." As the plane rolled toward the runway, the same man passed her on his way to a new seat. He paused, meeting her eyes, then mumbled an apology. Ava inclined her head, a quiet acceptance, before turning back to the sky. When the wheels finally left the ground, a subtle pride settled over the cabin, as if everyone had witnessed something larger than a dispute over a chair. Respect had taken flight, carried by calm strength and a single truth. Silent honor speaks louder than arrogance ever could. Stories like Ava's remind us that strength isn't always about volume. Sometimes it's the stillness that shifts a room. Where are you watching from? Share your thoughts on moments when calm dignity won the day. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that honor quiet courage.